What's up, y'all? Fab Guy here. Just wanted to do a little video on overheating issues, tips and tricks. First and foremost, get yourself a nice radiator. If you don't want to buy one, make sure your stock radiator is not filled up with junk and crud. Super important to get that cleaned. I had mine pressure washed at a radiator shop. It was pretty blocked up with crap. If you have air conditioning, your condenser as well could be blocked. Sometimes you get a little dust and dirt, bugs in there. I have the Mishimoto radiator, which is really nice. It's aluminum, lifetime warranty. It's pretty big, and as you can see, my radiator is not obstructed at all, except by my winch. I did remove my control box, put that in the bumper, just give me a little more surface area there. Radiator's great, but in order for this bigger radiator to work, you have to get a high flow water pump. So I have a Hesco high flow water pump, because with the bigger radiator you get a pressure drop and you don't have as much turbulence for airflow. I've done a lot of research on that. Stewart Components has a great website with a technical section that's very helpful. I learned a few things on that website. Make sure your temp sensor is good, obviously. This is clutch too, putting in a different thermostat housing. I think this is the Hesco. It's like 25 or 30 bucks, and it's a little bigger, kind of ported out. That made a little bit of difference. It's like everything adds up. It's not one thing per se that cures all your problems. Make sure your block is clean, even your heater core that can get blocked up. Put your auxiliary fan on a bypass switch so you can turn it on whenever you want. Kind of turn it on before you hit a grade or something. Some people will put a ZJ, I think it's a heavy duty ZJ fan clutch, which, yeah, it's gonna help it cool better, especially at low speeds, but it's also bigger, so it won't fit with the Mishimoto radiator. It runs into the front of it there, or the back of it rather. It's also gonna give you more drag, so you're gonna lose horsepower, which is, we need every pony we can get with these Jeeps. Stainless steel header. This is a Banks, that's helpful. Stainless kind of holds more heat in, doesn't dissipate as quick as mild steel, so that's going to help a little bit. I wish I would have ceramic coated mine. That would have helped a little bit, but just kind of cost, everything adds up, and time, etc. Intake manifold. Some people like to ceramic coat them, from what I've read. Not that important. Putting a heat shield underneath would make a difference. On I think Corvettes, like on the LS1 motor, putting it under the intake manifold, they claim like 20 horsepower, which is probably not true, but I'm sure it does something. So yeah, no tranny cooler in the front of the radiator, blocking it. That tranny air that would be getting cooled off would be going into the engine bay anyways, so that's why I didn't mind putting my trans cooler inside with some custom brackets that I made. I think it just had a 3/8 tubing, chromoly 4130. Got a nice spowl fan on here. I think that's a 7-inch C-Trab style cooler, which is the most efficient. I do have hood vents, which made a huge difference, especially because the air blows straight out of the vents. Even the aux fan, it's unbelievable how much air comes out of those things when I turn my fan on. You can see I have this like dum-dum putty. I think Mercedes-Benz sells it just to cover up every little sensor so I don't get any water in there if it rains. 4-hole injectors, which was nice little modification. This was huge too, just a cold air intake, this Thor setup, pulling air in from the cowl off the windshield. Doesn't obviously do much when it's 100 degrees out, but that was pretty significant. That was very helpful. And then it's kind of comical, but I bought a Windshield Washer reservoir motor as well. It was 30 bucks on Amazon, and it's got 4 squirters that I've put in front of the radiator. So before I hit a grade, I will flip the switch on and smash that and hose down the front of my radiator, which is helpful for evaporative cooling. I also have, as you can see, an autometer temp gauge, and 180 to 220, it's very easy to read. I also have a transmission gauge. Trans temp gauge isn't hooked up right now because I've been using it to check underhood temps. Here's a little sensor right here, and eventually I'll just plumb that in line to the proper hose. What else do I got going on here? Oh, my tranny cooler. It's kind of neat. I have a hose, you can see it right there. This is a heater hose going to this hole that I made and just TIG welded a tube there to get some fresh air flowing into my transmission. So yeah, I can't think of anything else off the top of my head that has helped this thing cool down. But all of these things, like I said, together are very helpful. Oh, lastly, run a 180-degree thermostat. Some people like to drill a hole for air pockets, air bubbles to escape. That's fine, little 1/8-inch hole in that thermostat housing. I think I have a Stant one in here right now. Works very well, hasn't given me any issues. And the reason why I run the 180-degree thermostat is because this thing will literally run at 180 degrees with all the mods that I've done. So when it's 100 degrees out and I'm coming up to a grade, instead of the Jeep running at 210, it's running at 180. So I have 30 degrees cooler to kind of play with. Works very well that way. So I highly suggest doing something like that. It's never thrown a code. People will say, yeah, the Jeep's made to run at 210. Well, that's true, but it's mainly for emissions. That's why they do that. If your Jeep is running cooler, the engine bay temps are going to be cooler. Therefore, the air coming in your intake manifold is also going to be cooler coming in your intake into your engine, which is going to give you more horsepower and allow your engine to run cooler overall. So I hope this was helpful, guys. Like I said, I think there's probably a couple more things that I've done to this thing. Can't think of it off the top of my head. I got hundreds of hours into this Jeep, dude. So if you want to check out my other videos, I got some cool stuff, DIY. Hope you enjoyed. Take care.